Good afternoon. This morning at 3 a.m. we had the new moon in Virgo, and I'm a little behind time on getting this video out there, but it really is within the energy field to write out your new moon wishes within 48 hours of the new moon, which was earlier this morning around 3 a.m. So the new moon, what it means is that the sun is actually at the exact same degree as the moon in Virgo, which only happens once a year. This is called a supermoon because the moon is closest to the earth at this time of all the new moon cycles. So it's going to appear very large in the sky when we actually can see it. Now, obviously on a new moon, there's nothing to see. It's just about to start its first quarter phase. And the farmers, if you look at the farmers' almanac, they always planted their seeds at the time of a new moon, because this was when the energies were building again for the next 14 to 15 days toward the full moon. And they noticed that their seeds took hold in the earth better and grew better if they got a really good start. So the best time to plant any seeds is in the time of the new moon. Now, obviously that also relates to planting seeds in your own life. So we always like to go back to what the actual moon meaning is of to know which kind of seeds to plant and where in your astrology chart does the new moon fall. So we're looking at the sign of Virgo, and initially many related the sign of Virgo to the Virgin, but actually as time went by it was the untamed wild virgin. So Virgo is a mutable feminine sign, and it's a sign related to the Holy Mother. It's a sign related to small animals, to plants, to gardening, to health, to creating a regime of good health and diet and exercise. It's a sign of it's ruled by Mercury, so it's about communication. It's a very finely honed sign. You will notice people that have a lot of Virgo in their chart are highly sensitive people. They can sometimes be criticized for being too much of the critic, but actually most Virgos that I've met are much harder on themselves than they are on other people. I find that Virgo men, for the most part, have a really strong sense of duty, a sense of being capable of hard work, being very selective in their mates, and loving their mothers, usually having a good relationship with their mother, which in turn transfers to a respect for women and a good relationship with their daughters and their wife and their sisters. So Virgo men often really make women feel well. They give them a good sense of self. Because it's mutable, they're not, I have never really met many Virgos that are bullies. They are more inclined to pick a bit, or get naggy a bit, but they're gentle. They have a gentleness about them that's really beautiful. I've met a lot of veterinarians that are Virgo or have a lot of Virgo in their chart. A lot of healers are Virgo because they have a sensitivity to energy. Because it's an earth sign, they have a great feeling for Mother Earth. And of course, the mother energy of Virgo relates to also Mother Earth herself. So that may give you a bit of a lead into what you personally would wish to create as your list of planting seeds for the next month. Now, what I encourage people to do is to make a list of about 8 or 10 intentions that are related to Virgo energy. If you know your chart, you would know which house these Virgo energies are affecting. But if you don't, you can just set out Virgo new moon intentions along the lines of what we spoke about. You might want to set out an intention to be more discriminating, because Virgos are very discriminating people. It's a very, if you have Mercury in Virgo in your chart, you're very often a good writer and very good at detail and very observant. It's a rules Mercury, so it's a good placement for it. Venus in Virgo people are inclined to be highly selective and do not fall in love easily. So when they meet somebody that they're really attracted to, it's a gift for them, because they have a strong sense of discrimination and don't just have a broad spectrum of the type of man or woman that would please them. It's much narrower and much more defined and often refined. So Virgo men or women often like refined mates. If you have your Mars in Virgo, you pay great attention to detail. And when you work, that's your ego sign. When you work, you're inclined to be very, very good at all the fine points. My daughter had Mars in Virgo, and she created these incredible mirrors that were so, I would have found it tedious to do all the handiwork she did. It was absolutely gorgeous. That is typical of a Mars in Virgo. Also, she was a horsewoman, and she was extremely refined in how she rode a horse, sat a horse, and paying attention to the details of the personality of the horse, which made her a master horsewoman. People that have Jupiter in Virgo, Jupiter in our chart is often where the heavens bless us. So Jupiter in Virgo people, it's kind of a strange duality, because Jupiter is very broad, very expansive. It's the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter is a huge planet, and Virgo's very up close and personal. In fact, the animal related to Virgo is the mouse, because it's like going along really noticing all the little crumbs on the ground, and very sensitive and very close up. But I do find people with Jupiter in Virgo, I have a son who has Jupiter in Virgo, and he is incredible with plants. He tries and experiments and creates combinations of fertilizers for those plants, and he's so sensitive to what the plant needs and what it's feeling and the energy of the plant. He's just a master at it. And at the same time, he's an incredible artist, so he's very good at the detail. He does the broad, he's a Sagittarius, so he does the broad overview of the person or animal that he's drawing, and then he goes in and he's really good at all the refined details that make it come alive. People that have Saturn in Virgo, Saturn is it's our karmic planet. It's where our sense of restriction, or we're held back, or in some way we are put on the straight and narrow. And so Saturn in Virgo, I find I have a lot of friends with Saturn in Virgo, and I find that a lot of them are very, very hard on themselves. And when I'm giving a reading, I usually will start out the reading by saying to them, you need to really lighten up on yourself. You're such a critic of yourself. And they'll always go, how did you know? But it's that Saturn in Virgo, especially if it's, I have one friend who has Mercury in Virgo, so she's very bright, very good at pinpointing. But then she's got the Saturn on top of the Mercury. So she's so hard on herself, and she's an artist, and she's constantly the critic of her own work. So Saturn in Virgo, we need to learn karmically to be more discriminating. So we may have come in with an extra conscience about our actions. And that may be the karmic part of Saturn in Virgo. So that we're actually, and so if you get that Saturn and it's affecting any other planet in your chart and it's in Virgo, it's going to bring things and hone them a lot and make them very defined. The outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, there was a period there where Uranus and Pluto and Saturn, Uranus and Pluto were both in Virgo, and people that had that aspect, it was also opposing their Saturn in Pisces, and it was very hard life, a lot of challenges. Those were people that were born around 1965 to 1967. And that was a tough aspect to have. By now, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Eliza de Vries, and I am an evolutionary astrologer, which means if you came to me for a personal reading, I would look at your chart from the standpoint of what your soul came in here to express. What were your intentions? What were the already aspects set in motion where you would feel constricted or gifted? And how was that to be used in this lifetime? So that is part of what I do. I also like to combine my astrological understandings with intuition and with being a medium being somebody that I hear a lot of messages from the other side. So if somebody writes me or calls me for a reading or comes to my home, very often the person they wish to connect has already shown up before they've shown up. And I do a lot of those kinds of readings. So that is another thing that I love about the reading aspect of my life. But the power of intuition is that no matter how much astrology you study, no matter how many great astrologers inspire you, no matter how much knowledge you have up here about astrology, so you can spout all the aspects and the houses and the signs and what it all means, intuition plays a huge part in astrology. Because if I were to look at your chart and decide, I have to decide, looking at that chart, why you are coming to me today. Because there's going to be something intuitively, an aspect or a transit that is pushing at something within the dynamics of your chart that's going to bring out a sense of suffering or challenge or loss or abandonment or opportunity. Could be this is a great timing. Another time it could be that you should be introspective, kind of like think of a wave sucking back from the ocean, and as it's sucking back, if you come to me at that time during the reading, I will see that in your chart. But my advice to you would be, you're not ready yet to come up and to make the big splash forward, because there's kind of this sucking back where you may have some strong Saturn or Pluto or Neptune aspects making you really want to go inward in a certain house in your chart. And then the wave starts to come up, up, up. And if you wait, if you're patient and you're wise and you get the internal messages, it will crest very high. And when it comes forward, it will crash forward with a lot of impulsion and incredible opportunity, and you'll be riding exactly with the energies of your chart, and that does help a lot. You know yourself, there are times in your life that you look back and there's been divine timing. You've met somebody and it's been the wrong timing and you haven't moved forward, and you've kind of restrained, or if you have moved forward, it hasn't worked out, or you had to learn something but it wasn't going to be something that would be long term. And then there'll be other times astrologically when the planets are really with you, helping you to meet somebody that would be synergistic, or find a good business partner, or make that investment, or hold off and not sell everything, or not make a move. It's all energy, and if you're deeply intuitive and listening within, you will know what to do without being an astrologer. You will know it. Your gut will tell you, your heart will tell you, and you'll let your mind surrender to the wisdom of your heart, because your heart knows best. So with this mutable new moon, and because it's mutable, it's adding to a process of initiation that we've been in since last January the 12th, when Saturn and Pluto landed on top of each other, and that was actually, I found out that was when the first coronavirus person actually died, or was recorded to have died. So that transit, which Pluto ruling pandemics, everything was kind of triggered then. So this would be the time to make progress. Jupiter has just gone direct. Next week, Saturn's going to go direct. I think it's the 27th actually, so it's about 10 days from now. And then Pluto's going to go direct. So we are starting today with the new moon, because Jupiter went direct a few days ago, but we were behind the moon. We were in the dark side of the moon. But now, today is this beautiful new moon of Virgo moving with Jupiter. So today is a really day of initiation and looking at ourselves. And Virgo too is a lot about, we were talking last week about it, it's going to be opposite Neptune, not exactly, but 5 or 6 degrees off. So we're going to be questioning a lot. We're going to feel bombarded by information. And so the introspection time, we're going to have to do this in and out thing where we take in the information from the outside world and we bring it back and we decide if it's true or false. There's going to be a lot of false information. Obviously, we're all aware of that. And at the same time, we're going to be thinking a lot about Mother Earth. We've had these fires, we've had the flooding, the rain, the electrical storms, and we just had the largest shelf of Greenland break off during this period. So the healing, sweetheart, Seisha man, come here please. This never fails. We always have that, so it goes with the territory of one of my readings. So, and right now, I don't know if people are aware, but we have 29,000 fires in the Amazon rainforest. So not just our hideous fires going down the west coast, but 29,000 fires, and they're even saying they might not be able to call it anymore an Amazon rainforest, so much we have destroyed it. And a lot of those fires, they purposely were burning off to create real estate land and farming. So, and then we've had 5 hurricanes right now in the Atlantic at the same time, and that's the second time in history that we've had 5 hurricanes at once in the Atlantic. So any global warming deniers, please do not come onto my videos because you're not going to be happy with what you hear, because I totally feel that this is the biggest crisis of our time on Earth right now, is global warming, that it is the issue that we have to face, number one, all over the world. So science is ruled by Aquarius. Science is, Aquarius is the new root, the new energetic roots, the astrology it rules. It rules new inventions. And just 1 second, I gotta plug this in. It's a little bit getting low. There we go. And so we've got right now Venus in Aries, Leo, and it is pointing across the heavens to Aquarius. So, and we have a yod in the chart today, which what a yod means is that you have two planets sextile, and the third part of that's the midpoint, and across the chart would be the point of the yod, and the point of the yod is in Aquarius. So, and the actual degree of that yod refers to the fires on the earth burning out of control that need assistance. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So this is the year with Virgo. We really need to separate out. There are a massive number of conspiracy theories flooding the internet right now, plus the intervention from other countries in our election. We're going to have to do a lot of sorting out of the truth. What is the truth? And Virgo being a very discerning sign, we could make that one of our intentions, that we are discerning enough to know the truth, and that we are going to make conscious choices with our mind. We're going to be intelligent about it and be aware of our choices. So the new moon is a good time to ask for more stability and a sense of peace of mind, because the mind can get spinning too much. And because we have a square right now to the moon's nodes, and some of this may sound like Greek to you, but it makes it a very, very powerful new moon. And it's creating a mutable cross in the heavens. So there's a lot right now happening in the chart that and that, as we've talked before, that Mars that's gone retrograde in Aries is slowly going to wind its way backwards and hit Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. It's going to hit all that and wake it all up. So that's what's coming in October. We're almost at the end of Virgo. We're 5 degrees off the end of Virgo. Then we go into Libra. So we go from a very pinpointed, mutable sign to a Libran sign that's going to feel like a lot of restless air energy, and all of that is going to be opposing Mars. All that Libra energy is going to be opposite Mars. Plus, Mars is going to be squaring all those other planets. Cut a long story short, Mars is going to stir the pot completely from the first debate on. There's going to be a lot of action and fire, and it's going to be interesting because we have to stay clear and calm. So we have to make sure that we do this in and out movement of coming out, seeing what's going on. We're not going to be oblivious to what's going on. We have to use our powers of discernment and intellect, but at the same time, coming back in and restoring ourselves and listening to our heart about what is the truth of all that I just was exposed to. So it's a pretty fascinating period, and I don't think I even introduced myself today. It shows how out on Neptune I am. So my name's Eliza de Vries, and if you would like a reading, astrologically, intuitively, or a mediumship reading to connect with somebody that you've loved that has crossed over, I'm here for you, and you just write to me at AngelicMercy44@gmail.com. And if you would like to know more about me, my history, my background of being an astrologer and a columnist for 17 years, you can go to my website, AngelicMercy.com. I wanted to choose one card to end the reading, just as a sort of a new moon card of what would be the gift of the new moon today for humanity. This is wonderful. Well, this is the card, I call this the card of Pythagoras, the great philosopher, mathematician, Greek philosopher, mathematician, who was also a great mystic and had mystery schools where people studied the meaning of sacred geometry and the symbolism and how the symbolism awakened our soul. Because when we learn tarot cards are filled with symbolism, especially the historically correct cards that were like the Rider-Waite deck. Those cards they're very accurate, and as you're staring at those cards, you literally can feel certain parts of your body awaken to the symbols. And the ancient Tibetans, when you study healing, when you study Reiki, the ancient Tibetan used symbols profoundly in their meditations to awaken their inner being and to connect to the inner realms. So this card is saying, it's like you're learning, just like we were talking about, you're learning, you're studying, and then you're coming back and you're looking at the symbolism of what you just learned, and you're gaining a deeper meaning, which is true, isn't it, with all learning, that there's a surface level of being an information highway to others with news and what's going on. And then there's this whole other philosophical, intuitive, spiritual, aspiring for higher knowledge, higher minded studying, which goes into the depths of the soul. So Pythagoras was great at both. He was the teacher of both. So it's saying, take your Virgo discernment, because everybody's got Virgo somewhere in their chart, and study and learn and be alert and be awake right now, and then go deeper with it and think, what is my next move from what I have just learned? Or should I discard what I just heard? Is it true? And remember, in the last reading we talked about truth ruling, especially this week, that truth was going to be a strong factor, and it's turned out to be that every day it's just filled with untruths, and we're having to sort out a lot right now and keep our faith that the right thing will happen. Thank you all for tuning in, and remember, beyond all else, to combine the wisdom of your heart with the mercy of your soul. Thank you so much, and I hope you're all okay. I hope you're safe from the fires. Let's pray for the firemen and those that are ill right now or in hospice. I have a little doggie in hospice right now. I've been looking after her for a few months, and that's been a really profound experience for me. So I hope you're all Okay? If you need to contact me, you know where to find me. AngelicMercy44 @gmail.com. Thank you, and God be with you.